So you want to know exactly how you should hold a bow and what the technique points are to get you doing it correctly straight away. So let's roll the intro and then get to the video. So when it comes to the bow and gripping the bow, there's one key concept that we have to start with, and that is the lifeline. And what I mean by this is if you simply look at your hand, you'll see there's a line down the middle, almost down the middle of your hand, and this is what we call the lifeline. Now, when you're touching the bow with your hand, you want to use this side nearer the thumb. You want to contact the bow with this side of the hand, not this side. And that is the concept of the lifeline. So that's a key thing that we'll demonstrate a bit more in a minute. First of all though, you might be wondering, which hand do I hold the bow in? If you're right-handed, you actually hold the bow in your left hand because you shoot with your right hand. So when you're right-handed, you release with the right hand. So this is often an area that confuses a lot of people because they say, well, I'm holding the bow in my left hand, but I'm right-handed. So they kind of get confused about this. But if you're right-handed, you hold the bow in your left hand, and that is what we call your bow hand. And you put your hand into the grip and you release with your right hand, which is your dominant hand. So that's just something I wanted to clear up there. So back to the lifeline and what that means exactly. Now I'll show you with a grip here on a bow. So on the bow here, this is again a right-handed bow. You want your lifeline to be roughly lined up with the left edge of the grip. So I'll demonstrate that for you. You want the lifeline here to be roughly lined up with the left edge like that. So that gives you the correct position of the hand in the grip. And you can see a picture here of the lifeline and also the pivot and the pressure points of the grip. So what this means is here you can see the lifeline and you can see that on the right, you don't want this area to contact the bow. On the left near the thumb, this is the area that contacts the bow, as I mentioned before. Now you can also see in this other picture of the corresponding bow pivot and pressure points, this is where this lines up on the bow. So you would line these two points up basically, and this is where you should put your hand in the grip. And this is a key point of good bow hand positioning and gripping the bow, but we actually call it just positioning the hand in the bow, and I'll explain that a bit more in a minute. So when you're positioning the hand in the grip, what you want is you want the hand, as I mentioned before, the lifeline, you want on the left side of the grip here, and you want the thumb straight along the grip here, directing that way, and you don't want the hand falling off the side, or you don't want this part of the hand here, you don't want that touching the bottom of the grip here. So a common mistake is to make this touch the bottom of the grip and have the hand too far round like that. That's a very common mistake, but actually you want it there. So you've just got the side near the lifeline, you've just got that touching the grip. The other mistake is for people to just fall off the side of the grip like this and not be holding the grip, and then when they draw it's very hard because they're not stable in this position. So as I said, you want the lifeline on the left side, and then rather than falling over to the side of the grip like this, you want to make sure that you direct the thumb straight and round the grip like that, and that is the correct position. So you want to make sure that when you're doing this, you can get into the correct position to start with and then repeat it. So a really good way to do this is simply to stretch out the bow hand and make it into like a V shape, and then put the V into the throat of the grip, into here, and then that gets the position at the top, and then simply you just lower it to get the pressure point. So this is what I mean when on that diagram before there was the pivot and the pressure point. So you put the V into the throat of the grip, that is your pivot point, and then you locate down and that's your pressure point. It's very simple. So in this example here with the bow again, you have the V, you put it in, and then pressure point. And it's very simple to be able to do that and replicate it. You get the V into the grip, pressure point. Very simple way of getting the correct position and making sure it's the same each time, especially for beginners, to be able to replicate it. So that's really great to do. Now, when it comes to shooting, what you also want to do is make sure that you don't grip the bow, and this is another common mistake. So you do not want to position your hand, as I said before, so you got the V, into the grip, pressure point. Now, at this point, a very common mistake is for people to grip the bow like this and hold on to it so that when they shoot, it doesn't move. But this is wrong. What you want is the fingers open and relaxed, and to pull the knuckles back. And this is just a simple way to basically get the correct hand position without overly opening it or without gripping the bow. So common mistake number one is gripping like this. Common mistake number two is opening like this. Neither is good. What you want is V, pressure point, knuckles back, thumb directed. Really simple. So this is a really simple way to do this. And what this means is if you were to shoot like this, the bow would jump clean out of your hand and would fly away from you because you're not gripping it. So in order to stop that happening, what you use is a finger sling. This is just a very, very simple, this is just a piece of old shoelace, and you kind of just tie it together or knot it together or whatever, and then you simply loop it around your fingers like so. So this one goes on my index finger, and then you create another loop, you put it on the bow like this, and then you use the other end, create another loop to put it on your thumb like that. And then now I'm attached to the bow. If I let go of the bow, it will roll, but it won't fly out of my hand, it won't drop. So this allows me to have the correct grip position, have the knuckles back, the thumb directing, I'm not gripping the bow. When I release the bow, it will roll and move, but I'm now attached to the bow, so the bow won't fly out my hand. If I did that just now, without this finger sling, the bow would fly and hit the floor. So this finger sling is an essential part of your equipment because it allows you to, get the right bow hand position without gripping the bow and holding it really tight and causing torque on the bow, which is going to make your grouping really bad. So that's why you don't grip the bow, because it would torque it and it's inconsistent. It's much better to do it this way with a finger sling. Now, to see some of this hand positioning in action, here are some clips of good grip position examples, and you can see in these examples exactly the stuff I was talking about. You can see the pressure point firmly applied, and you can see that the lifeline is not overly to the right, and the bottom of the hand is not touching the bottom of the grip, like I said. Also, you can see the thumb being straight along the side of the riser, directing to the target. You can see the knuckles pulled back, roughly a 45-degree angle, and you can see, crucially, on release, the bow moves forward and rolls because you're not gripping the bow and you're not holding it. So on release, it's much, much better. And because of the correct grip position, because you've learnt this from the start, it's going to be much easier to ingrain this in your muscle memory, and then also much easier to get a strong bow arm, bow shoulder, and alignment, because you've got the correct connection to the bow and to the grip and the rest of your shot as well. So this is a really key point of technique, and you can definitely see the benefits from this really early on, so that's great. Finally, one other common mistake with the bow hand is to put the bow hand firmly in the grip too early. So what I mean by that is someone who has the bow on their foot like this. At this point, you do not need to put the hand in the grip like this and then lift the bow. What you need is to be getting the pivot point in the grip like this, and then when you lift, then you put it into the pressure point like that. So that's a key point, because if you try and put it into the grip here, it's going to compromise the rest of your shot. Probably quite, not painful, but it's a bit of strain on the wrist and the hand. It's not very good. So don't try and do it too early. If you put the bow on the leg like this, that's fine. It's not a problem, but make sure you don't do it too early, because you want to make sure that you get the correct grip position for you. So that's really key. So that has been an overview of basic grip positioning and how to hold a recurve bow. I hope you found that useful. As always, be sure to smash that like button, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel for videos on everything recurve archery related to help you learn your technique and learn equipment and everything like that. And as always, I'll also put the social media links down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.